Hello, Movie Hunter. Good morning, Mega Podlings. Crazy Joe here, Movie Hunter. I saw you comment there. Give me a second, and I'm going to get the live stream up on my iPad so I can read. The distance between myself and the camera is such that I can't really read what you're saying unless I really lean forward. So I want to get it down on my iPad. Just give me a second. I'm sorry, I should have been prepared. The fact that I'm going live at this late hour tells you that this night has gone awry. Normally I would have gone live a bit earlier than this, but we have a 3-year-old who refuses to sleep, and quite frankly, it's driving us crazy. It is maddening. She won't sleep. She fights it and fights it and fights it, and she's got to be exhausted. She's got to be. Won't sleep. Just won't sleep. And then you think she's fallen asleep. Nope, right back up again. So that is where we are, and it's wreaking havoc. So here we go. This is the, that is the wrong one. Come on. What the heck? What the heck? Is this it? Somebody say something. I think I got it. Yeah, this is it. Okay, I got it. I've got it. Hello. All right, guys. I am sorry. Hello to everybody. Hello, Geriatric Geek, Movie Hunter, Mike Crawford. Let's last beyond 11 seconds this time. Yeah, well, you know what happened? I started it up, and then I realized, excuse me, oh, yeah, this looks great. I realized I did not have my iPad, and I wasn't going to be able to read what you were saying, so I'm like, I better stop it and get... I could have just left it live and gone and got the iPad, and you guys would have just been looking at the bar, but then people would have come in, they would have been confused, what the heck's going on? So, Boredom Strikes, hello! Hi, everyone. This is... Oh, and Jules is right behind me. I didn't even know that. Hello, Jules. All right. I'm sorry. I'm out of sorts tonight because 3-year-old problems. Mike Crawford finally got all the Evil Dead except the remake and Steelbook now. You know, I've still never seen the remake. I haven't had... I gotta be honest, Excuse me. Sorry about that. I haven't had the interest in the remake. I hear it's good, but, you know, generally speaking, I'm not into remakes. With a few exceptions. There's some really good remakes, but that one was one that just didn't appeal to me. I love the TV show, though. All right, Boredom Strikes has a question right out of the gate. Bring it on, Boredom Strikes. I am prepared. And this is the first live stream I have done in 2019, I should point out. All right, Boredom Strike says, I know the Megapodtastic song is from your podcast, but can you tell me the story behind the recording? Who's singing it? Well, you know, I should ask him how he wants to be credited. I don't know if he wants me to give his real name. He records under the name Skiznot. If you Google Skiznot, you should be able to find his stuff. He may not mind me giving his real name. I don't know, but I want to be sure on that. I'm going to start, this year, it's my goal to kind of up the production values on my intros and outros. I kind of want to put together opening and closing credits. And I will credit Skiznot however he wants to be credited when the time comes. But, man, it's just a matter of finding time to put something together. I don't have any free time, as you guys may have noticed. But, yeah, Google Skiznot, man. He's great. I used to be on a podcast called Slice of Sci-Fi, which got a lot more listeners than my current podcast, the Megapodtastic podcast. Slice of Sci-Fi was a beast, man. That got a lot of listeners. We were on Sirius XM. We were actually on Sirius satellite radio, so we got more than just the average podcast listeners. And Skiznot used to send us in songs all the time, and they were always funny. Mostly song parodies. Not all song parodies, but a lot of song parodies. And, man, he just really funny guy. So when we needed a theme song, I went to him. And, our old show, well, it's the same show. The title changed. We used to be called Megapodzilla. And he wrote the theme song to Megapodzilla. Then we got a cease and desist from Toho. Toho said they didn't want us using the name Megapodzilla. They thought it was a copyright infringement. We changed it to Megapodtastic. Skiznot stepped right up with a new theme song. Then we did a new podcast, which I'm still doing with my wife, called Honey, You Gotta See This. The link to that's down below. Skiznot, again, provided us with a fantastic theme song for Honey, You Gotta See This. So he's really great. He's talented. What else do we got here? Love the new Shout Factory releases. I haven't seen them. What are the new Shout Factory releases? I'm interested. Mike Crawford says, wait till they turn 5, then the real fun begins. Oh, wait till they turn 11. Because, we got an 11-year-old, and man, it's always something. They say terrible twos. She was so easy at 2. She was so easy at 2. Terrible twos, my buttocks. 2s were fine. It's the 3s. The 3s are horrible. Joey Baseball says, you should have seen Jules' face. I'll have to play that back because I did not see Jules' face. But he did bail, so I guess that had something to do with it. Boredom Strikes asks, what happened to Slice of Sci-Fi? Boredom Strikes, are you familiar with Slice of Sci-Fi? Had you heard about it before? Because it was a popular show. I don't know if you were aware of it or if you're asking because I just mentioned it. But there's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that I don't know that I'm at liberty to say. Technically, Slice of Sci-Fi still exists. There is still a podcast out there called Slice of Sci-Fi. And it is done. It is produced by one of the members that was there when I was there. But she's kind of gone solo. She's doing it on her own now. And there was personal drama. I don't want to. I don't really want to get into the the whole politics of it. I don't know. It got a little ugly. It got a little ugly, and some people had fallings out. Some people weren't friends anymore. It was. I think mostly the fences have been mended now, but she's not. We're not. I was gone for a while anyway. I was no longer with Slice of Sci-Fi because I moved back to the Slice of Sci-Fi recorded in Phoenix. Michael R. Meningay, who was the brains behind Slice of Sci-Fi, he lived in Phoenix, Arizona, and we used to record at his house every Thursday night. And I kind of was no longer a part of the show when I moved back to Philadelphia. So it went on years without me. So I wasn't actually there for I had questions. I'm listening going, what is going on here? So I kind of got the dirt from my friends who were like, here's what's going on. So. All right. But I'm afraid of talking too much about Slice of Sci-Fi because I don't know how many people even know what Slice of Sci-Fi is. I mean, don't get me wrong. It was a popular podcast, and it was a more popular podcast than this is a YouTube channel. So, I mean, Slice of Sci-Fi had far more listeners than I have viewers. Far more. So, odds are a lot of you have heard of Slice of Sci-Fi. But then again, I don't exactly know what the crossover is between people who listen to podcasts and people who watch YouTube. There may be a huge crossover. There may be no crossover at all. So, I don't know. What's huge in podcasting, may not be huge in YouTube. I've always wondered that myself. So, I don't know. I don't even know what to call myself anymore. Am I a podcaster? Am I a YouTuber? I have no idea. All I know is I was nominated for awards for my podcast. Nobody's nominated in this channel for anything, so so I probably should stick to podcasting. But here's a secret: this is cheaper. All I got to do is turn the camera on. I got to pay hosting fees and everything for podcasting. This is much cheaper, and I get a much better feedback. I get more feedback from less viewers on YouTube. Like, I got a lot more listeners on the podcast, but even though we have a voicemail line and say, call in, let us know what you're thinking, I don't get a lot of voicemails. People don't, the feedback is very, very low on the podcast. And I really like the feedback. All right, where are we? We're talking about the Dragnet Blu-ray. Gotta be honest, I never liked the Dragnet movie. I should watch it again, but it's not one that I ever really cared for that much. I'd give it another shot though. I'll sit through anything, if I can find the time. That's the secret. I tried to watch Bird Box. Everyone's talking about Bird Box. Tried to watch it last night, fell asleep. I liked it. It's not like I fell asleep out of boredom. No, it wasn't that. I fell asleep. So I got to watch the other hour. Evan Brewer asks, how was my day? My day was great. How was yours? Are the kids still fighting? Joey asks. Yes. Yes, they are. Did I mention that on a live stream? I don't even remember. That's the thing. My brain is fried, man. My brain is fried. It's just, they fight and fight and fight. They're 11 and 3. What do an 11-year-old and a 3-year-old have to fight about? When I was 11, I never would have fought with a 3-year-old. I never would have fought with... I mean, now, granted, my sibling wasn't 3. My sibling was only 3 years younger than me. So, yeah, they have a big age gap there. But I think at 11, I would have realized you're not going to win a fight with a 3-year-old. So, what's the point? Tell them you're going to put in Teletubbies if they don't calm down. Oh, with my luck, Kira would love the Teletubbies. I don't think she's ever seen them. And that would be a curse right there. I'd put it on and she'd be like, Daddy, this is great. Put that back on. And then I'd be like, oh my God, no. What the heck? I see Hobby Lobby everywhere. Never stopped in. Neither have I. Oh, boy. Has anyone watched Bandersnatch? I watched Bandersnatch the other night. Everyone's been... I think I watched Bandersnatch. That's the other thing. I can't even say for sure I watched Bandersnatch. I saw end credits. I did see end credits. But then the show looped back and started coming on again, and it was different. So I don't know how much of Bandersnatch you have to watch before you can say you watched it. Because I certainly didn't see every possible scenario. And I got to say, personally, everyone's talking about this thing, Bandersnatch. Those of you who aren't familiar, it's a Netflix movie from the guys who made The Black Mirror. It's technically a Black Mirror movie, but it's a choose-your-own-adventure. You get to pick the choices for the character. And it's very interesting. Interesting technology, it's kind of cool, but I can't say I really cared for it because it's more clever than good, I think, if that makes any sense. It's very clever. It's kind of a cool thing, but at the end, I don't feel like they told a really good story. The tech was better than the story. Boredom Strike says Bandersnatch sounds like a porn film. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Someone said, because the other big movie on Netflix right now is Bird Box. Someone wrote, Bird Box Bandersnatch. Isn't he the guy who played Doctor Strange in the Marvel movies? I thought that was hilarious because Benedict Cumberbatch, Bird Box. Yep, you get it. You get the joke. Why am I explaining it? So, Kill Switch, you're into torching kids, aren't you? I'm not ready to have them torched yet, but my God, give me a week and who the heck knows. So what's going on, everyone? I know I started late. Is this too late for a live stream? Is everyone like, what the heck is this jackwagon starting a live stream this late for? Is that what everyone's thinking? I don't know. I see a bunch of people, but not as many as when I go on right after Dave. But there's a bunch of people here. Zach Movie Collection. Man, that is a big screen name. Oh, Boredom Strikes. I love The Burbs too. I'm a huge Joe Dante fan. I love Joe Dante. Joe Dante, man, he was the greatest. I don't understand why he doesn't get as much work as he used to. It's not like, well, I know his movies stopped performing at the box office. Like Matinee was a flop. I loved it, but it was a flop. Then he did Small Soldiers. I don't think that did anything, you know, great at the box office. The Small Soldiers wasn't a big hit. I guess that's the problem. He just stopped, his movies stopped making money, but God, I love him. I'm a huge fan. Even the last one. What was the last one he did? The zombie movie where the girl died and she came back. I can't think of the name, but it was good. I enjoyed it. Boredom Strike says, I recently picked up Hollywood Boulevard. His commentary is awesome. I have Hollywood Boulevard, and that's one I never got around to watching, unfortunately. I will show you this. This is one of the things I got for Christmas. I got the complete series of Fraggle Rock on Blu-ray. This was one of my Christmas presents. And look at this. It comes with an Uncle Traveling Matt. And it says, take Uncle Traveling Matt with you on your next adventure and share your photos using hashtag Traveling Matt. So I got a little Traveling Matt to take with me. So that's pretty cool. 35th Anniversary Collector's Edition. Border Strike says, I'd love to pick up Fraggle Rock. Love that show as a kid. Me too. Me too. It was a classic. Then there was an animated series. Anyone remember the animated series? After it ended on HBO, NBC did like one season of an animated version, which I think it was the wraparounds, I believe, were hosted by the puppet of Traveling Matt. Like the puppet of Traveling Matt would come on and intro and close out the episode, something like that. Sort of like Back to the Future, the series had the live action wraparounds with Christopher Lloyd as Doc Brown, which I always wondered. Dan Castellaneta from The Simpsons did the voice of Doc Brown on the animated series, but Christopher Lloyd was there doing the wraparounds. And I'm like, well, if you can get Christopher Lloyd, why not get him to do the voice too? I mean, would it really have been that much more expensive to pay him to do the voice as well? Boredom Strike says, animated series that sounds sacrilegious. Well, the Jim Henson Company was behind it, so you know they did Muppet Babies, so they've got a history of of doing some animation. So it's not like it was done without the input of Jim Henson. By the way, did anyone happen to watch my Muppet Museum video? My friend Chris Stoltz did. He has a Muppet museum right in his house, and man, it was. The video went up, I think, a couple days after Christmas. I put that video up, and that was overwhelming to see. I'd always heard about it. I know. I met Chris at RetroCon. He had a table at RetroCon. That's how we met. And we've gotten to know each other a little bit ever since RetroCon. We run into each other in various places. And he always told me he had a Muppet museum in his house. I had to come check it out. And when someone says they got a museum in their house, you got to think like, well, what could that be? A museum in your house? I mean, how much could you possibly have in your house? Now, it's foolish of me to say something like that because I know cinema sickness, and I've seen his library. So to never underestimate what someone could have in their house. But yeah, I thought that was a pretty amazing thing to see. John Hickey asks, my most anticipated movie in 2019. That's simple. I don't even have to think about that. Without question, it is Shazam. I am very excited about Shazam. I'm also excited about Avengers Endgame. I'm excited about Star Wars Episode 9. Both of those are, I can't wait to see either one of them. But when it comes right down to it, I've seen Star Wars movies before. I've seen Avengers movies before. I've never seen a Shazam movie before. And I've loved that character since I was as long as I can remember. I used to watch the Filmation series, the 70s live-action Filmation series, and the Filmation series, The Kid Superpower Hour with Shazam. I don't know if you remember that. That's a throwback from the 80s. But, so yeah, I've always loved that character. And this is the first time that character has ever come into the screen. So as much as I love the Avengers, as much as I love Star Wars, I've seen Avengers and Star Wars movies before. I've never seen a Shazam movie before. So that is my #1 most anticipated. Add to that the fact that Zachary Levi is playing Shazam. Perfect casting. He's been a guest on this show, by the way. Zachary Levi has been on this show. Technically, he was on the podcast, but I took the interview and uploaded it to YouTube, so you can find it on this channel. If you go back, you can find my interview with Zachary Levi. He's been here, and man, that's good casting. He's going to be great in that role. And I'd like to point people out, the people who don't know their Marvel and their DC, Shazam is the original Captain Marvel. When he was created, his name was Captain Marvel. And then the character, he wasn't published anymore. Fawcett Comics, who published Captain Marvel, they went under, and the character wasn't being published, so the trademark lapsed. And since the trademark had lapsed, Marvel scooped up the name. Later on, DC acquired the character, but now because Marvel had picked up the trademark, they could no longer use the name Captain Marvel. So now the character is Shazam. I'm ranting, and I'm sorry. Let's see. Where are we? Boredom Strike says, must have missed it. If you get a chance, check it out. It's a long one. It's a half hour, which is longer than I think most videos I put up. These live streams usually go about an hour, but I usually post like a half hour video. So that's one of my longer ones. Thank you, John. I'm glad you appreciated it. I appreciate that. Hello, hi there. That's a good screen name. Muppet Babies has, Mike Crawford says, Muppet Babies has so many copyright problems with reference to classic movies, will probably never get a release. You're probably right. And this is why I advocate bootlegs. And I know that was a controversial statement. You know, I did an old video where I was talking in favor of bootlegs. Now, I'm not saying bootleg everything. I'm not saying like bootleg Fraggle Rock. You can go out and buy Fraggle Rock, and it's not going to be any better than this Blu-ray set. So just buy the official release. But if there's something like Muppet Babies that you're not going to see, it's not going to see the light of day, then I feel like if you can get a high-quality bootleg of that, pick it up, because otherwise the show's going to fall into obscurity and people are going to forget that it exists. And the work of all those animators who put their heart and soul into that series, it's not, it's going to all be for naught, because it's going to be forgotten. And as someone who appreciates old movies and old TV shows, I don't like that. I don't like thinking that something's going to be forgotten by the next generation. So that is why I advocate bootlegs for things that is the only way that you're going to get it. And I know people disagreed with me on that. Some people said, you know, bootlegging is never okay. It's like, well, look, I don't know what to tell you. Joey Baseball says, I hate the Fraggle Rock packaging. You know, I do feel like there should be some kind of slip cover. There should be, like, it's just open here. There's no kind of, like, see, like, stuff's falling out. There should be something binding it together. But there's not. So that does seem like a bit of an oversight. Also, everyone's all about the sleeves these days. And I think most of us collectors don't care for sleeves. We prefer cases. But they're going to do what they're going to do, you know. Movie Hunter said, I heard you say you still do podcasts, even though ever thought of recording them and using them as YouTube video? I have thought of that. I've considered it, and I may be doing that. It's one of these things that I'm kind of up in the air with. I haven't decided if I want to just do the podcast solely on YouTube. One issue is, I mean, I won't lie. I use some music every now and then. I'll throw music into a podcast that is it's copyrighted, and I always figure bigger podcasts than me do that. Podcasts that have a lot more listeners than I do will play songs, and they don't worry about it. So I used to not play anything because I'd be like, well, that's not pod safe. You know, I could get a copyright, you know, issue. But then I got to thinking, I'm hearing podcasts much bigger than me play music, and they don't get in any trouble. So maybe I'll just play stuff. And if someone comes to me and says, hey, you shouldn't have played that, then I'll take the podcast down. And no one's ever come to me and said that. Now, the thing is, if I upload that to YouTube, I'll get a strike from YouTube. I definitely will. Because YouTube enforces that kind of thing where it's not really enforced in the podcasting world. So we'll see. I may be doing something like that. I've thought about it. I am sorry. I am a little tired, but that's okay. It's the only edition of the Blu-ray. Yep, that's true. That is true. Fan editions. Mike Crawford says that's why they're called fan editions. I like that. I like that. Movie Collector says my Bumblebee review makes him want to see the movie. Please, by all means, see it. I feel bad because I read it's actually being officially classified as a flop. It didn't do well. It did well enough that it was number 3 at the box office for a couple of weeks, but didn't do anywhere near what they needed it to do, and that is a real shame. I don't know. I mean, maybe you guys like the Michael Bay movies. I don't know if you like the Michael Bay movies or not. I do not like the Michael Bay movies. Most of my friends don't like the Michael Bay movies. I don't really know anyone who does like the Michael Bay movies. Someone must, because I mean they keep making money, but it feels pretty sad to me that the Michael Bay movies were so bad and made so much money, and they finally made a good one. And my God, is it good. It is really, really, really good. And I never thought that I'd be sitting here telling you Bumblebee was one of the best movies I saw all year. Never in a million years expected that, but it was. I'm a hardcore DC Comics fan. I'm a hardcore Aquaman fan. I'm a hardcore James Wan fan. So I really expected, because I love James Wan, I love DC Comics, I love Aquaman. I really thought Aquaman was going to be my top movie this year. I was like, Aquaman, man. Well, what's going to be bigger than Aquaman? Bumblebee's better. And I like Aquaman a lot. It's great. Bumblebee is better. I don't know. Oh, boy. So, where were we? Going back to the fan editions. I don't know if anyone's familiar with the New Monkeys. The New Monkeys were a revival of the Monkeys concept that happened in 1987. When I say concept, I mean it wasn't the Monkeys. It wasn't Davy, Mickey, Peter. The studio put together 4 new guys and did the same concept of, well, let's take these guys, we'll audition 4 guys, we'll put them together, we'll give them a show, we'll have a music tie-in. Premiered in 1987 under the title The New Monkeys, and it was a massive flop. But I was a fan of it. I was one of the few. And Dino Kovis, who was one of the New Monkeys, made the episodes available. He put them out there. You can get them. There's an interview on this channel with Marty and Dino from the New Monkeys. So if you have any interest in the New Monkeys, check that out. And they are interesting, man. They are very interesting because they flopped 30 years ago. They were a bomb. Nobody cared about the New Monkeys. They're making a comeback. They're making a comeback. They did an interview with me for the 30th anniversary. They did some interviews with some other people. Don't think I was the one who made this happen. They did an interview with me, but that's incidental. I didn't make anything happen. But it's generated enough interest that they have a concert in February. They reunited. They have a concert coming up in February, and it's sold out. It's already a sellout, and they're planning more shows. I'm hoping they do an East Coast show, because the show that sold out in February is in L.A. I can't get out there, but I definitely want to catch them. So I can't believe that 30 years after the New Monkeys was a massive bomb, that they're back and actually having a little bit of cult success. It's kind of cool. But Movie Hunter says you can sample songs, just don't go past 12 seconds. They say, I always heard 30 seconds. And in the early days of the podcast, the podcast now uses the Keep Wearing Those Pajamas song. That's the outro song, Keep Wearing Those Pajamas, that we play on the YouTube channel now. But in the earlier podcasts, I used the song "Do the Donkey Kong" by Buckner and Garcia, and I played 30 seconds. Actually, I always heard 30 seconds to play it safe. I think I played 28 seconds. I'm like, I'm not even going to hit 30. But that was our outro, was like 28 seconds of "Do the Donkey Kong." Michael Bay's Bormstrike says Michael Bay's Transformers movies are dreadful. I stopped at 2. You and I both. I saw the first one in the theater twice. Twice. And the reason I saw it twice was because I hated it. And if you watch my videos regularly, you probably know who Dave Perillo is. Dave Perillo is my best friend. He's been my best friend for like over 20 years, about 25 years now. And Dave Perillo really liked the '07 movie. He told me, oh, no, it was good. And I came out, I'm like, no, I hated it. I think it's garbage. He's like, no, it's good, man. It's really good. You got to check it out. Again, you missed it, you know. So I went back a second time to see what it was he was seeing in the movie that I was missing. And I still hated it. So the second one comes out. I didn't see it in the theater, but I got it one night when we were going to get snow, and I'm like, let me get some movies. I'm going to get snowed in. I went to the Redbox and rented it. And man, it was worse than the first one. So I never watched 3, 4, and 5. I'm like, I'm not going to watch them. Michael Bay's approach to Transformers clearly is not mine. But I've always said, if they get rid of Michael Bay, dump Michael Bay, get someone new in there, I'll give it a fair shake. And I did. So I want to see Bumblebee because you know Haley Steinfeld. Joey Baseball says the new monkeys. You mean Crisco? Thank you. Thank you. Somebody actually listened to that interview. Yes, Crisco. If you don't get that joke, you got to listen to the interview. That wasn't a joke either. That was real. That really happened. So Geriatric Geek says Bumblebee had a budget of $135 million worldwide so far. Worldwide take so far is $289.6 million. I don't see that as a flop. Well, that is impressive. That is impressive, but you got to take in mind, I think, the promotional costs and everything. And I mean, it's not a massive failure. It's certainly not a massive failure, and thank God for that. I hope Paramount isn't too reactionary here, because a lot of times studios will be reactionary. They'll see a movie doesn't do what they want it to do, and they'll go, it didn't do what we wanted it to do, so pull the plug. But I think sometimes the smarter move is to double down, and I'll explain why. Because they did 5 bad Transformers movies in a row. And I think a lot of people were like, I'm not giving them another shot. Now, I always say it's not the same guy. I always say it's all dependent on who the filmmaker is. Different filmmakers going to make different movies, which is why I thought boycotting Solo, because you didn't like The Last Jedi, I thought that was ridiculous, because the Solo was a movie written by Lawrence Kasdan and directed by Ron Howard, and they had nothing to do with The Last Jedi. So you didn't like what this guy did over here, so you're going to boycott this guy's film? That doesn't make sense to me. And it's the same thing with Bumblebee. Michael Bay, you don't like his movies. This is a Travis Knight movie. This isn't a Michael Bay movie. But I don't think a lot of audiences look at it that way. I mean, like cinephiles, people who really love movies, we know who's making the movies, who's behind the scenes. I don't think the average film goer pays any attention. They're just like, last Transformers movie was crap, so I'm not going to see this Transformers movie. Last Star Wars movie was crap, so I'm not going to see this Star Wars movie. And they just see it like very black and white. But those of us who follow the behind the scenes, I think we know a little better. But I think the average movie watcher who couldn't even tell you who directed the movies they watch, I think I don't think they see it that way. So I think with something like Bumblebee, it doesn't do what you want it to. The smart thing, it's so good. It's so good, and everyone who's seen it likes it. It's got great audience scores. It's got great critic scores. So they got a quality product here. They just needed to convince people to go out and give it a shot, and that's what they couldn't do. So these people who skipped it in theaters will watch it. They will watch it when it hits cable, when it hits HBO, when it's on DVD, when it's streaming. So it will find its audience eventually. And if you make another one, if you say, well, we're going to follow that up, we're going to have faith in what we made. We're going to have faith in what we made. I think the audience is there for the next one because they'll see this one. And I'm seeing it with Solo. So many people boycotted Solo, said, I don't want to see Solo. I didn't like The Last Jedi. But now I'm hearing those people say, hey, I watched Solo. That one was really good. It's like, well, yeah. They're not going to make a second one now because you didn't go see the first one. But yeah, I think the studios really need to just kind of like have enough faith in their product sometimes that even when it fails, just double down and be like, look, we know that we made something quality here and it's going to find its audience. It may not seem like a great business plan, but sometimes you got to take a risk. And I think, like, you know, risks can be rewarded. I don't know if I'm making sense. I'm a little tired. I may just be rambling now. All right. Jeff Hill asks, do you think we will get more Star Trek short eps after the second season is over? I don't know. Generally speaking, I would have to say I don't care if we get more or not because I didn't think the short treks were that good. They were 50-50. They made 4 of them, and 2 of them I thought were great, and 2 of them I thought were eh. Well, the first one was just flat out awful, I thought. Runaway, my God, that was terrible. The last 2, Brightest Star was really good, and The Escape Artist was fantastic. So, it's like a 50% score there. You did 2 that weren't that good and 2 that were great. So, I don't know. I don't know what their measure of success there is. I guess they know how many people watched them on the streaming service. They don't really release those numbers, so I can't say. I really can't say, but you know, anything, I guess, to keep people tuned to CBS All Access, so maybe it's not the worst idea. Boredom Strike says, Bay's first Transformers movie has the distinction of being the first film I saw in IMAX. Jeff Hill says, we'll see what Bumblebee makes on DVD and Blu-ray sales. Keep in mind, though, Blu-ray and DVD sales aren't what they used to be. They're not what they used to be. I think that might find an audience more on streaming. I think when it hits Netflix, it might get a lot of views on Netflix. It might get a lot of people watching it on HBO. I don't know that a lot of people who skipped it in the theater are going to be running out to buy it. I could be wrong. And trust me, it's worth picking up. I mean, I'm a huge fan of that movie. From a guy who hated the first 5. I'm a big fan of Bumblebee. I want to see Bumblebee again. I was actually checking because I want to try to see it this weekend. I don't know if it's still going to be in my local theater. So I'm hoping. By the way, I got Captain Marvel tickets tonight. Now I just have to get a babysitter. And when I say Captain Marvel, I mean the Marvel Captain Marvel starring Brie Larson, not Shazam, who was, as I pointed out, the original Captain Marvel. Boredom Strike says, Crisco was funny. My favorite story on Joe's channel was the one about Tom Wilson. Yes, Tom Wilson, the man who does not have a prosthetic leg. And that is another Dave Perillo story there. So I wish I could get Dave on this channel more often. He is a character. I've been trying to get him to show up. You know, I don't get to Cinema Sickness's live streams as much as I would like to because of the way our Monday nights go around here. But one of these days, I would actually love to take Dave Perillo to a Cinema Sickness live stream. I think that would be fun. And you know, and Cinema Sickness knows him. They've met several times, so it's not like I'd just be showing up with a stranger at his door like, hey, I brought this dude. You know, he knows who Dave is, so. Movie Hunter says, short treks will be okay for a special feature on a disc. Technically, they're 15 minutes each, and there's 4 of them. That's an episode. You could kind of edit them together into some kind of anthology type of episode. I don't know. Release that with the, yeah, definitely with the Blu-rays. Joey Baseball asked, did I ever rewatch the Jim Carrey Grinch? I did not. I'm sorry. I do not like it. I've seen scenes of it. And I really, I just don't like the way they portrayed the Who's in that story. I feel like it was a real betrayal of the source material. I like the new one a lot, though. I saw the new one twice. Movie Collector asks, how was John Cena in Bumblebee? He was fine. I don't know that he was a standout, but he was perfectly fine. He's got some charisma. I mean, I'm not a wrestling fan. I don't follow wrestling, so I only know him from the movies I've seen him in, and I think he's a charismatic guy, and that actually is probably more important than acting talent. Let's be honest, Arnold Schwarzenegger was not a great actor, but man, that guy was charismatic. He could open a movie on pure charisma. So that's why we all liked him. Movie Tavern says, never heard of Movie Tavern. Is it a chain or franchise? It is a chain of... Have you ever heard of Alamo Drafthouse? I know Alamo Drafthouse is very famous. We don't have one in this area, but I know they're very famous. And it's a place where you sit down, you can get food, you can get alcoholic beverages, nice, comfortable chair. Waiter serves you while you watch a movie. Movie Tavern's along the same lines. And I like Movie Tavern a lot. Especially when a big movie opens, like a Marvel movie, a Star Wars movie, where my wife and I are going to go together. Because we don't, go to the movies together very often because we can't get a babysitter. One of us has to stay with the kid. So we'll have a tendency, I'll see the movie, then she'll see the movie. And we'll take turns sitting with Kira. But for the big ones, we try to get a babysitter, and you can't beat Movie Tavern because it's dinner and a movie. It's the perfect night out. And I'm a little annoyed with Movie Tavern because every other chain put out Captain Marvel tickets went on sale today. Every other chain's selling them except Movie Tavern. Movie Tavern isn't selling them yet. Like, I tweet at them. I'm like, and this isn't the first time they've done this. They did this with a few of the other big movies recently. They did it with Crimes of Grindelwald. They did it with, I think, Aquaman. I'm just like, man, this is like one of the biggest movies. Everyone's making a big deal. Hey, tickets are on sale, but you guys aren't selling them. I want to give you my business, and you're not there to take the money and sell me the product. So it's frustrating. I ended up getting our Captain Marvel tickets from AMC, using my AMC A-List Plus, which isn't bad because my ticket's free, and I get a discount on my wife's ticket, so it's not bad, but Movie Tavern's nicer for like a date night. And Hi There says we have a new Movie Tavern in Trexlertown. Oh, you know what? I saw Movie Hunter's comment to your comment, Hi There, and I didn't see your comment first. But yeah, I love Movie Tavern. That's just me. They're frustrating because they don't sell the tickets in advance when everyone else does, but it's a nice place to go. Is it annoying with people getting served and eating? Hi There asks. Not really. I don't think so. I've heard people complain about it, though, so I guess it depends on your tolerance level. I've said on this channel many, many times, I hate watching movies at home. I can't stand watching movies at home because we got the kids, and the kids won't stay in bed, and then the dog starts whining because he wants our popcorn, and he stands at our feet just whining and whining and whining until we give him popcorn. And I just find, like, in this house, there's way too many distractions to watch a movie. Way too many distractions. It's so hard to get through a movie in this house. I go out to a movie theater, and the things I hear other people call distractions are like nothing to me. Like, people are like, oh, there was a guy tweeting. It's like, yeah, that is annoying. Don't get me wrong. I'm not, advocating tweeting in the movie theater. But that's actually less distracting to me than the stuff that goes on here at home. So, Movie Collector says, I agree with you about the Grinch. Jim Carrey version was awful. I also thought it would have been better if Jack Nicholson played the part. Like, I actually thought Jack Nicholson would have been a better live-action Grinch than Jim Carrey. And I think Tim Burton should have directed it. Ron Howard went on record at the time as saying he never was a fan of the Grinch story, and he only took the project to work with Jim Carrey. It's like, man, you got to have a passion for the project. Like, you can't say, oh, I don't like the Grinch, but I want to do the Grinch. I mean, that's just me. That's just me. Joey Baseball says the Jim Carrey Grinch is beautiful. They have practical sets of makeup. I got no problem with the makeup. I don't disagree with you. It's a great looking movie. It looks terrific. All right, so I don't see any other questions right now. I should go off script with something. I'm sorry, I'm not prepared. I'm ill prepared tonight. I apologize. So I guess I'll just show you this autographed picture of the Warriors because it's here and because I need something. Anyone a fan of the Warriors? Warriors, come out and play. I got 4 of them signed to this. So there we go. Movie Collector asks, do you have a favorite Star Wars movie? Well, my answer is going to be boring. I apologize. Because I'm going to give the answer that everyone gives. Empire Strikes Back. I know it is like the total cliched answer, but it's the best. My 3 favorites, I think there's 3 that I call the flawless ones in my mind. And one of them is going to be controversial. But my favorite is Empire, second favorite is A New Hope, and my third favorite's The Last Jedi. Those are the 3 I think are perfect. Then I like Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens a lot. They're good. I don't think they're flawless, but they're good. And the prequels I'm shaky on. I don't like The Phantom Menace pretty much at all. I really got a lot of problems with The Phantom Menace. I don't think Attack of the Clones or Revenge of the Sith are as bad as people say they are, but I think they are a step down. So... And Joey Baseball says, I never go cliche. My favorite Star Wars character is Jar Jar. I can't agree with you there, but I do like Ahmed Best. I was watching a video he did talking about the depression he had after episode 1. Just tonight, while I was trying to get Kira to bed, I was kind of like watching that in the other room. My wife was like laying on the floor trying to get Kira. I don't know. I'm giving you too many details. So I was watching this video, and I really like him. He seems like a nice guy. I feel bad for what he went through. And Boredom Strike says, I love The Last Jedi. Me too. I was just eating popcorn yesterday out of my Last Jedi popcorn bucket. I love that movie. Movie Hunter says, I love General Grievous. Me too. General Grievous was cool. I always thought, now granted, this clashes with continuity that came after the fact. But keep in mind, at the time of Episode 3, the time we first met General Grievous, they had not yet revealed that Darth Maul was still alive. Okay? They revealed Darth Maul was still alive on the Clone Wars animated series. That came out after Episode 3. So at the time of Episode 3, it was not established that Darth Maul had survived. I thought it would have been cool to reveal that General Grievous was Darth Maul, put back together. Because he had Jedi training, he knew how to use a lightsaber, he had Jedi training, and he was a cyborg. He was, part mechanical and part organic. So I thought, what if Palpatine tried to reassemble Darth Maul and General Grievous was the result? And that would offer foreshadowing, because we know that when Darth Vader ends up in the lava and gets severely scarred, that's exactly what Palpatine does with Darth Vader. He builds him back as a cyborg. So I always thought it's like Darth Maul could have been like the prototype of Vader. It's like, this was my first attempt at repairing a broken apprentice and rebuilding him with cyborg parts. So that was what I wanted to see. But now, obviously, that doesn't work with the current continuity, because then we found out Darth Maul survived. So Steven asks, will Anthony Daniels be the only member of the original cast left in Episode 9? Well, Mark Hamill's in Episode 9, presumably playing Force Ghost Luke. And Carrie Fisher's in Episode 9 using archival footage. So yeah, Carrie Fisher's obviously not really on set. But on set, and Well, Billy D. Williams is in episode 9, but I don't know if we count him as an original because he wasn't in episode 4. But I'm glad he's back. Joey Baseball asks, is the pig in the Spider-Man movie because of the Spider-Pig in the Simpsons movie? No. No, that is Spider-Ham. Peter Porker, the Spectacular Spider-Ham. He was created in 1984. He had his own comic book in Marvel Comics. Marvel Comics had a line called Star Comics, which was a younger skewing line for kids. And one of the books they published in 1984 was Peter Porker, the Spectacular Spider-Ham. And he only lasted a couple years, but he always was kind of a cult favorite character. So for years, people would ask for Spider-Ham to come back. And Marvel for a while resisted it. They were like, no, we're not bringing Spider-Ham back. But now he is back. And I think it's really cool because never before could I own a Spider-Ham action figure. A Spider-Ham Funko Pop. What Joey Baseball asked, what did the kids get for the holidays? Well, Kira got a princess castle. Man, they got a lot of stuff. What did they get? They got Kira got a lot of superhero stuff. The DC Comics Imaginext. Familiar with Imaginext? They make like superhero stuff for kids. Not just superheroes. They do a lot of things. But she got like a Metropolis Gotham City playset and a bunch of little superhero figures. And she got a lot. She's obsessed with a cartoon called The Octonauts. She got an Octonaut submarine. And Jackie, do they deserve anything? You said they were fighting them the entire time. Good question. The truth is, before Christmas, their fighting is actually relatively new. Their fighting is really relatively new. They've only started fighting in the past couple weeks. And it actually seems to be dying down. I wonder if the Christmas break had a lot to do with it, actually. Because they were both off of school, and they were home, and they were probably spending more time together than they usually do since they weren't going to school. So maybe they were just kind of getting on each other's nerves because they were together so much. That may have been it. Because they didn't used to fight like that. And it just, the last couple of weeks it's been fight. And it does seem to be dying down now. Now that I think about it in retrospect, it may have been the holiday break. It may have been the fact that they weren't going to school and kind of getting away from each other as they usually do. It might have been just too much of each other. So, well, I am getting pretty tired, and I think we've been going about an hour, so I should probably start wrapping this up. Put them in a steel cage match. I'd like to see that. Mike Crawford asks, does anyone know which classic Who will get a Blu-ray season release? Which classic Who? I'm not sure what that means. Joey Baseball asked, did I check out the Mr. Rogers episode of Arthur? I did find some clips from it. Not the full episode, but I did find some clips from it. Movie Collector asks, so Phantom Menace is your least favorite? Absolutely, by a mile. And it's not to say it has no redeeming value, but it's the only Star Wars movie that has poop jokes in it. Like, Jar Jar steps in animal poop, and then there's a fart joke. An animal farts, and Jar Jar's like, oh, P.U. And it's like, that humor, man, it just doesn't work, I don't think, for Star Wars. Like, it felt really out of place. Like, people complained in The Last Jedi when Poe Dameron made the prank phone call to General Hux, and he's like, holding for General Hux. He's like, this is General Hux. He's like, I'm continuing to hold. People are like, that was out of place for Star Wars. And I'm like, no, really? You kidding? That felt like Star Wars humor to me. That reminded me of, like, in Episode 4 when Han Solo was going like, we're fine. We're all fine here. How are you? Like, Poe was being a wise ass. Han Solo was a wise ass. Like, that seemed to fit. But, like, poop and fart jokes, that doesn't seem like Star Wars to me. But that's just me. What do I know? Movie Collector asks, why would they include that humor in Star Wars? I agree. I agree. Joey Baseball says he likes Jar Jar because he was bullied by the fan base and he never did anything to deserve the hate. I agree with that too. Jar Jar by himself on that. It wasn't even so much the Jar Jar character. I didn't like the humor that they put in there, like him stepping in poop. And Mike Crawford says they've released the first 2 seasons of Doctor Who. Oh, yeah. No, I did see that. They put out, like, what was it? What they put out, like, the first season of, like, Tom Baker, or the first season of Peter Davison or something. Yeah. I don't know. It's about time they did something like that, quite frankly, though. I never liked the way they released Doctor Who on DVD. Boredom Strike says, I'm a diehard Star Wars fan, but the fan base is atrocious. I'm embarrassed to be associated with many of them. Can't disagree with you, man. Can't disagree with you. And the Star Trek fan base, I got to say, not much better. Not much better. The way people go on about Discovery is embarrassing. I always say, it's fine to not like it. You don't have to like something. I'm not going to fault you. If you tell me I watch Star Trek Discovery, I don't like it, that's fine. It's all subjective. But I've seen online bullying over it. Like, there was a guy who was like, well, if you like Discovery, you're not a real Star Trek fan. So, well, you can't say that. I mean, who made you the arbiter of fandom that you get to make that kind of decision? It's like no, I've said many times, I don't really care for Star Trek Voyager. A lot of people do. Nothing wrong. If you like Star Trek Voyager, nothing wrong with that. I got issues with Star Trek Voyager. But everyone's got, especially in a franchise that big, when you've got that many, that's Star Wars, you got 10 movies now. 10 movies when you include Rogue One and Solo. You make 10 movies. Not everything's going to connect with every audience member. It's just the way it is. You're playing the numbers there. Not everyone's going to like everything. It's the Marvel movies. Everyone pretty much likes the Marvel movies. The people tell you, well, I didn't like Iron Man 2. I didn't like Thor 2. I didn't like The Incredible Hulk. So it's like even the people who like those movies, they got something in there they don't like. So, all right, guys, I got to go. It is late. I started this live stream later than I usually do, obviously. I will try to do this again Monday night. Hopefully next Monday I will be coming on right after Cinema Sickness. That's the goal. Let's see if we can get the child to sleep. Movie Collector asks, does your wife like Star Wars? Yes, she does. Yes, she does. And Geriatric Greek says, thanks for the insight. Hey, no problem. I like doing it. Thanks for watching. I appreciate that. I'm still always amazed people actually have any interest in watching. All right, guys. Have a good night. Cracky Joe reference. Cracky. That's Adventures by George's favorite story. Whenever he sees me in a live chat or something, or I'll even get messages from him on Facebook. Cracky! So, all right, everyone. Keep wearing those pajamas. I'm wearing mine. We got Cookie Monster on. Cookie Monster jammies. There we go. I referenced these in the Muppet Museum video. I said, hey, I got Muppet jammies. So, good night.